They could have gotten any male to play this role of Jesus Christ, but they didn't. They decided to get a woman who identifies as non-binary. It really shows that the modern entertainment industry has nothing new to offer. Everything is a reprisal. Welcome to the Father Leo Show, where I am dishing out faith, culture, and commentary. And in this episode, we are going to discuss how a Hollywood actress named Cynthia Erivo, who is the Wicked star because she plays the green Wicked Witch, I guess, she is now playing in a new role. And guess what that is? It's the role of Jesus Christ in the new version of Jesus Christ Superstar. So let's get right into it. But before we do, please make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment. What are your thoughts on this degradation and this absolute miscalculation and misinterpretation of the scriptures and having a woman play the role of Jesus? Is it just art or is it mockery? Let us know what your thoughts are, because your engagement helps us to overcome the algorithms that suppress good, Catholic, balanced pastoral practices. And so please make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment. And please know we can only do this show with your support. Please visit patreon.com/thefatherleo show. You will see many ways that you can support the show and also engage more with us, because it's the only way we can dish out faith and culture and give proper commentary on a mess like this. So the Hollywood Minute tells us a story that Cynthia Erivo, who is the famed actress of the Wicked enterprise, now it's Basic Enterprise. At one point it was a family-friendly film, and now it is becoming, in a sense, another example of wokeness. She is playing the role of Jesus Christ Superstar. So I want to make a couple concessions here. I want to just concede that this is not an admonishment on her personally. I'm not criticizing her personally, but perhaps critiquing some of the things that she stands for. I'm also not condemning this play, this musical either, because I haven't seen it. But what I have seen should give me great pause and encourage people to, number one, be very careful of what you confuse as entertainment for the Gospels. We're going to get into all of this, but I just at least want to show you why I'm frustrated. This is an example of, this is going to be just a little clip of the show. I'm going to show you two little clips of the show. Here it is. Okay, there you have it. Actually, there were three little clips. I'm sorry about that. But you saw her. She's obviously an incredibly talented singer. Very talented singer. And maybe she's a great actress as well. You know, acting. By the way, that word in Greek is hypocrite. That's where we get the word hypocrite. Actor. Someone who is simply playing a role, but they don't actually believe it. Not necessarily applied to those who are in theater, because their role is to represent something that they are not. They are truly acting, but they're not hypocritical in this sense. But here's why I think there is hypocrisy, especially in this production. They could have gotten any male to play this role of Jesus Christ, but they didn't. They decided to get a woman who identifies as non-binary. She identifies as someone who would associate with the woke left. These are not my words. These are hers. And if you ever see her, for example, at a performance or an Oscar, you'll see her kind of dressed in what looks like, honestly, she looks like a vampire. And so you take a look at these images of her, for example, her dressed on the red carpet. She is now the new role, and she just kind of has these, it's just an odd thing. And then of course she sports her nails, kind of like the long witch nails. But then people can say to me, wow, Father Leo, you're really critical of modern fashion and talented women. And I want to tell you, I'm really not. I'm critical. I'm critiquing because I'm using critical thinking. This is not a negative thing. I am trying to apply critical analysis and give you, Catholics, a perspective on how to approach this topic, because this could make you mad. And in a way, it should. And here are some reasons why. And by the way, this being mad should not lead to a sinful anger, but to a righteous zeal for the Lord. And there's a big difference. Anger, motivated by you getting mad because of this being in disagreement with you, and it therefore leads you to act with uncontrolled rage or to act without Christian virtue, that doesn't make the situation better. So I'm going to try to unpack this for you so that you don't get mad, but you're filled with a righteous zeal. And a righteous zeal that's going to help fight against the evils that are subliminally being portrayed in this production. So, a couple comments. It really shows that the modern entertainment industry has nothing new to offer. Everything is a reprisal. Everything. From Superman to the Fantastic Four, to just even taking love stories from the past and bringing it to the future. It's just like, is there no talent that can create something new that is good, beautiful, and true? Rather, they have to take something that's old and that was beautiful and considered a classic, reprise it, and honestly create a version of it that is so undignified. And so it's an observation that Hollywood has no new ideas. So you know what I got to do? Go to Christian things, including versions of like the saints stories that are coming out. I mean, I was just at a group called the Napa Institute, and I met so many incredible movie and film makers, and they're creating new things like The Sound of Freedom with Jim Caviezel, produced by Angel Studios. That's going to be more impactful than this Jesus Christ Superstar, which again is a reprisal of the past, but a sillier version of it. And not only sillier, here's my second observation, a more socially, politically motivated version. There is no doubt that Cynthia Erivo is very popular. Very popular. She's on the front page of things. She's the headliner. She's an A-list celebrity, and she has great talent. But to play the role of Jesus is a passive-aggressive insult to Christians. And why? Because Jesus wasn't a black woman. Jesus could be considered very much a dark-skinned man who was from his part of the world, aka the Middle East. He was from the Bible stories, and we know that race is such an issue these days that it almost seems like we have to present everyone in different racial, kind of ethnic roles that would be odd to the tradition. What do I mean by that? It certainly would be odd for me to play the role of Mary Magdalene. But if this was some woke production, I should do it. Now, I will say that my scholarship to college was in acting, singing, and dancing, performing arts. But I also had good grades, so I got a couple different scholarships. And I played the role of Danny in the production Grease. I had more hair back then, and I could sing and I could dance, and so he was the lead, and I was honored to play the lead. And the co-star was not a blonde woman that looked like Olivia Newton-John. No, she was a Filipina girl. So it kind of made sense. Talk about typecasting. In this case, the insult to Christianity is the typecasting. The producers knew exactly what they were doing when they did this show. Third, the creative licensing that this particular version seems to portray. The original version, to be honest with you, I wasn't much of a fan. I always thought that it seemed a little odd in its interpretation of Christianity. And that was before my desire to really go in full on board with my Catholic faith. Even then, I thought artistically, okay, fine. They're turning the gospel into like some sort of rock star thing. And it just wasn't my kind of music. Secondly, I just thought it was kind of corny. And three, it just seemed slightly over the top in its artistic misinterpretations, as this case is. You saw Cynthia Erivo singing very sensually behind a woman. There is definitely sensual costumes, the way she's dressed and carrying the cross and looking like she's really going out to a bar in a slinky dress. These are our artistic interpretations, which are truly insulting to the morality of Christianity, because it makes the character of Jesus to be sensualized in an immoral way. Jesus was a very sensual figure. He touched people. He was loving and tender. So he was sensually appropriate because we are sensory beings. But the sensory overload here is manipulated to make it look immoral. And honestly, kind of demonic. So I think that there are movements not only to passively aggressively insult the Catholic Church or Christians in general, but also to kind of morally confuse us. And all of that coming from my observation first, that the Hollywood entertainment industry is empty, completely empty of new and good ideas. So they take simply good productions from the past and in a way bastardize it. And when I say that word, I'm not trying to insult it. They're just making a mockery of it. They ruin it in a way. It's very, very challenging for me to see this. So how are we as Catholics supposed to deal with all of this? Well, I'm going to show you a clip of Mother Angelica because honestly, I remember the first time when Mother Angelica came to prominence was in the 1990s during the World Youth Day in Denver, Colorado. I was but a mere seminarian at the time, and I had heard that this nun really ripped into the church's leadership, particularly the leadership, because they had a female play the role of Jesus in the live Stations of the Cross, and here is her reaction.
Response to the questions regarding the Stations of the Cross, mostly made by WTN at Mile High Stadium, mime never is an historical representation. So mime is a historical representation. The organizers never intended the portrayal of the Stations of the Cross to be a historical representation. What do you think the Stations of the Cross are? It doesn't matter what you think they are. They are a historical representation of the passion of Jesus. Anyone, even a child, it puts us in our place, that played any of the roles. Imagine a woman playing the part of Abraham Lincoln in a mime. Imagine a woman playing the part of anyone. How about President Bush, or President Clinton, or George Washington? No station, no Hollywood producer would ever do that. I don't think it was a mistake.
Oh, Venerable Mother Angelica, you were a prophetess in so many ways. But guess what? Hollywood is now doing that. But her point is very clear. Art influences people, but art can be manipulated to manipulate people in a bad way by representing a false version of what the art's supposed to be. In other words, what would have happened if Cynthia Erivo wore a red MAGA hat as she played the role of Jesus? The Hollywood left would go berserk. And why? Because they see the hat as evil, but they see Cynthia as good, and therefore more of a role to play Jesus. But you can see how manipulatingly confusing it is. And the reason why I bring up confusion is because when you look at this, Catholics will automatically be confused. They're going to be filled with rage, but what can they do about it? Well, what I'm trying to do is give clarity, because the tool of the devil in this case is to confuse people. So let me offer some things as to not be confused. Number one, I am not telling you that Cynthia Erivo is a good or bad person. I'm recognizing that she might be a very popular actress, but I also think she represents an agenda with which I completely disagree, because she does espouse immorality based on the LGBTQIA plus community. And by the way, the LGBTQ community is just as confused in their identity as well, to the point where the LGB wants to separate from the TQIA plus, because they believe that the TQIA plus people, with which Cynthia Erivo stands for, is contrary to the LGB community. So I'm not condemning her, but I am asking you to critically think, what does she, as an influencer, A-list celebrity, what is she trying to communicate to us? What's her agenda? In the same way, if the My Pillows guy, the My Pillows guy, remember him? I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but if he says Mike Lindell, I believe, if he were to play the role of President Obama in a feature film about President Obama, how do you think people would react to that? We have to know that the actor, him or herself, should be critiqued by the performance. So she might get an A+ in her performance, but also we have to see past the performance and see what's the motivation. And the motivation is certainly confusion. So that's number one. I'm not here to condemn or to criticize. Secondly, the play itself. Should you see it as a Catholic? I can't tell you not to, and I can't tell you to see it. Me personally, I think it would be silly. I thought that the original was silly. I didn't like the music. I thought that it took the Gospels and made it unpeaceful and more dramatic in the worst way possible, rather than theatrical in the way, say, like the Chosen series tries to represent Jesus. And how those actors, I think they're having a greater impact from the Chosen series because those actors represent in a non-hypocritical fashion the original characters. And that's what Mother Angelica's role is here. So do you want to, do we like her? I don't know. That's up to you. Do you like the show? Are you going to see it? That's up to you. But I will tell you this, you cannot think that the show is a good catechetical, instructive, formational opportunity for you spiritually, humanly, pastorally, or intellectually. No, if anything, the show is going to dumb you down, as most modern representations of Christianity. That's why you have to go to authentic sources. In other words, don't get your faith from a Hollywood interpretation of a show, especially something like this. The third, what should your reaction be to all of this? Am I being kind of hypocritical and angry? I remember I just showed you a small clip of Mother Angelica's reaction, a small clip. But Mother Angelica called this woman playing the role of Jesus in this live stations an abomination. And it really kind of was an abomination, because it was introduction into this wokeist theological approach to genderless Jesus. And I think because of the confusing and frustrating roles of, should women become priests? Well, can men become nuns? Well, they can become monks, right? And so there was a whole gender sexually charged debate that was occurring in the 1990s. And because the Catholic Church couldn't make its own decisions and just simply say, men are priests only and women can't be priests, it opened up a little bit of a door to a lot of the confusion we have today. So Mother Angelica, her response was to dig even deeper into the Catholic faith and to embrace the traditions of our church, to get deeper into the patrimony of what we as Catholics believe. And so her whole channel took on a completely different format, and she actually grew in popularity because she actually stood for something. We have to stand for something. That's key. And I don't know if it requires you to protest in front of the show itself. I don't think that that's a good idea, but let your money do the talking. Stop supporting shows like this and start supporting and contributing to efforts that's going to raise up the dignity of our humanity through art and through entertainment. So what should your reaction be? Give it no attention. I guarantee you it will eventually go away. I mean, honestly, the show Jesus Christ Superstar, I think, was like in the 70s. How long did it last? Well, it didn't last that long. I mean, I think I only remember Jesus Christ Superstar. Da 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 da. That's all I know. And guess what? I'm still living. It doesn't have to have that great of an impact on me. But classical movies and classical entertainment, classical productions, oh my gosh. Like The Sound of Music, I can sing all those songs. Catholic, of course. Catholic production, Catholic message. That's going to last forever. This is not going to last forever. And Cynthia Erivo, she's a popular actress now, but I guarantee you she's going to say something or do something that the left woke won't like, and they're going to eat her alive, and she's going to no longer be an influencer. She will eventually be canceled, or she will just simply fade away, like the semi-talented but vulgar woman who I kind of liked at one point, but realized that she just had to do something in order to stay relevant, and her name is Madonna. You know, she's not having an effect anymore. She's had bad effect in some ways, but guess what? The truth will always outpace the silly and the bad. So we don't have to overreact, but just let your money and your feet do the talking and the walking. Instead, go to things that are valuable and good. I'll even say go on a pilgrimage with me. Spend your money on that instead. It's a better investment than the other nonsense that you could be spending money on. And maybe support shows like The Chosen or the Angel Studios or other good Catholic film and content producers. You know, even what I'm trying to do with this show is trying to at least bring a voice out. And so I certainly hope that a show like this helps you to understand why I am doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to help provide a Catholic pastoral way to the craziness that we're confronting in the world. So thank you for letting me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share. It helps to overcome the algorithms. And please also support us on patreon.com/The Father Leo Show so that I can continue to dish out faith, culture, and commentary. God bless you, and stay hungry for God.